morning and good Friday. Good morning. I'm going to ask you to move in a little bit so you can hear me and my voice. I have a soft voice and it doesn't carry, and there's a lot of noise here. I want to begin by saying that the inscription on this wall behind us says, "Until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream." And given my experience and the work that I do as the CEO of Mothers Against Teen Violence, I'm sure it wouldn't surprise you to know that I have done a lot of thought, and I am engaged on a daily basis with this business of justice. And the question that I would pose is, what does justice mean to the mother of a murdered child? Last month I had the privilege of traveling to Ciudad Juarez with a group of pastors and activists and writers. And we visited with elected officials, we visited with social activists and college professors. But I have to tell you that the most compelling meeting that we had was in a neighborhood where 3 years ago, gunmen opened up on a birthday party and they left 16 children dead. And we met with the mothers of those children. And I have to say that there wasn't a dry eye among us as we filed out of that small and neat house that was just a few doors down from where the tragedy actually had occurred. Now, those survivors in Mexico have little hope of finding legal redress, and in a sense, that's what I think of when I think about justice. It's legal redress. But even if they did, there would be no way to restore what they've lost. And therefore, nothing can be done to make that experience right again. So justice has a very hollow ring to it when mothers and fathers and others who have lost children to gun violence, you know, you don't really, justice is just not enough. And so I say that as survivors, we have to look for something beyond justice if we are to survive and thrive. And for me, the answers came when I considered the matters of love, faith, and forgiveness. And then there's this matter of the justice system, which I've experienced up close and personal, first as a victim and then as an activist. And I recently was a speaker at a rally at Dawson State Jail. And if you know, I didn't know where Dawson State Jail was. Okay, and I live right here in Dallas, but it's only about a mile from here. And I can tell you that 3 people have died in recent times, in recent years at that jail. And 2 women and 1 4-day-old child. Okay? And they died for lack of medical attention. They were preventable deaths. So Dawson State Jail is a low-security facility. It houses non-violent, primarily drug offenders. And so I say that it makes a mockery of justice when a person who's serving time, a sentence for a non-violent crime, has to risk her life to pay her debt to society. And of course, the Corrections Corporation of America, CCA, the operator of Dawson State Jail, is definitely responsible for those deaths. But I also say that you and I bear some responsibility there also. Because we have been far too willing to stigmatize people for their addictions. We have allowed them to be locked up even though they pose no threat to public safety. And we have refused to include these people in our own circle of concern. You may not know that in 2011, 110,000 Texans were arrested for drug possession. And 64,000 of those people were arrested for marijuana possession. Meanwhile, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety, and forgive me for my statistics, I'm an activist and it's in my blood. Meanwhile, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety, a person who commits rape has only a 55% chance that they will never be arrested. A person who commits a robbery has a 75% chance that they will never be arrested. For aggravated assault, that's 44%, and for burglary or theft, it's 92% chance that they will never be arrested. And we can't improve these appalling clearance rates for violent crime in Texas as long as we're spending so much of our resources on nonviolent drug offenders. So justice for addicted persons would mean a public health approach to drug abuse and addiction. It would mean a drug policy that's based on compassion and equity and science. And it would mean a sustained commitment to prevention and treatment on demand. And just in case you haven't figured this out, my organization, Mothers Against Teen Violence, is leading the charge to rethink drug policy in Texas. I was in Austin last week and I will be in Austin this week advancing that agenda. So as I close, I want to share this. We activists like to say that the arc of the universe bends toward justice, but it only does that because we activists are out here working and doing what we need to do. And I believe that. But I will also say this, that when I have a setback, when things aren't going very well for this activist at heart, and I am filled with frustration, there's something that I want to share with you, and this is what gives me hope, and it should give all survivors of gun violence hope. While it is a good thing, as a matter of fact, it's a wonderful thing to be engaged in making the world a better place. But as a Christian, it's also important to remember, and Joe Clifford, my pastor, is very fond of reminding us this, that God has a plan that is far beyond making the world a better place. God has a plan that calls for a new heaven and a new earth. And God's plan is a vision that's far beyond and far grander than anything human beings can even conceive. And Matthew 25 tells us that this plan has been in place before the foundation of the world. And wonder of wonders, this plan doesn't depend on me to come about. Thank God for that. And I believe that this new heaven and this new earth that's coming will be a place where justice can roll down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Thank you. Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much.